Okay, let's start. So yesterday we talked about the preparation and migration of customizing for general ledger accounting, in which we have covered all these activities. We have seen all these activities in details. Like I think I have sent the PPT now itself for yesterday's session, and also I have shared the PPT for what we are going to cover today also. So all these activities are covered, which are part of general ledger customizing. Now today we need to understand the next activity, which is preparation and migration of customizing for asset accounting. So similar to the steps that we have performed in the sequential manner for general ledger accounting, there are some uh, steps that we need to perform also in new asset accounting. So I think we'll just go through this system first, and then we'll go through the PPT also. So prepare new asset accounting. This means that before you actually do all these settings, this list will give you all the required settings, like what needs to be maintained. These are actually all part of. If you just read this, this is going to be this is going to give you entire idea of what are the settings that you need to make to configure the new asset accounting. So although we are going to have all these steps done, like whatever activities are explained here, and maybe adjustments to new asset accounting, and even there are some steps that we need to perform in the new asset accounting folder directly also. So these steps, if you see, this is going to show you all the different steps which are needed to be performed. So just let me do the go through for this first, and then we'll talk about the activities. So when I'm talking about prepare new asset accounting, these are the activities if you have been using classic asset accounting up to now. So I think we already discussed that if you are using new GL accounting, it is possible that you are already using new asset accounting if you have activated the business function fi underscore GL underscore parallel something. I don't know if we'll see. There is one program I think this we have discussed. So it is possible that you are already using new asset accounting in your old system also. So these settings are actually for the system in which you are currently using classic asset accounting. So this and the following activities supports you in migration of customizing data. Once you have completed these activities, you can activate new asset accounting. So before activating new asset accounting, you need to configure these activities. Migrating transaction data is not possible until after that the migration of transaction data is not the part of this IMG activities. This means yesterday also we talked about this is not going to migrate your transaction data. This is only going to migrate your customizing. So yesterday we discussed there are two types of migration. One is the migration which is related to customizing settings, and second is the migration of the transaction and master data. So this activity is not going to migrate your transaction data, rather it will just migrate the customizing settings. The documents from asset accounting are migrated as the part of migration of documents from general ledger. Okay, so this is a subsequent activity that is not part of this activity, it will be done separately. Finally, you must initially build the depreciation values of your fixed asset. If you go through this, so this is the activity. Once you complete the migration, these are the programs that we have to do. So don't worry about this, we'll come to this once we are done with all these settings. So overview of the steps, these are the steps which need to perform. Create prerequisite for use of new asset accounting. Okay, so what is covered in the prerequisite? It is given in the sequential manner. So I think let's directly go to the activities rather than just seeing this. Just a minute. Okay, so create prerequisites for the use of new asset accounting, which consist of this steps 1 to 8. And what are the steps? First, you need to check this. Already we have seen that if you are using these components, joint venture accounting, uh, lease accounting engine, real estate, or funds management or industry specific component which is under the public sector, then I think we have already seen this SAP note in which go to you cannot use new asset accounting if the below components are activated. Okay, so you need to check that if these settings are clear or not. So when you run this program, once this is done, I have the list of activities that will perform. So it will tell you whether uh, there are some settings or there are some components which are activated, which are stopping the activation of new asset accounting. Okay, then prerequisite is that you are already using this business function. It is must. If this is not activated, system will not allow you to use the new asset accounting. If up to now you were using classic asset accounting with classic general ledger or classic asset accounting with new general ledger accounting, you have to make the following preparations. Okay, that preparations are already given. I'll show you. I think it is better if we directly go there. Then we'll come to this and we'll see if everything is done or not. That will be the better idea, I think. Okay, so preparation. Once the preparation is done, then you can come to the migrate for new asset accounting. But before actually going to these activities, there are some of the activities that you have to do from the general ledger's perspective. So we assume that these activities are done. But if you are just considering this asset accounting uh, separately, then you need to follow these activities first, right? So let me just share this PPT also with you, which will tell you what are the activities which should be done in general ledger accounting before you actually do this migration of customizing for asset accounting. Let me know once you are able to see the PPT.
Yes, can see.
Okay. Yes. So uh, if you want to migrate to new asset accounting, there are basically these three scenarios. Either you are still using classic asset accounting, or you are already using new asset accounting in EHP 7, or you are neither using classical nor new asset accounting. This means till this time you are not using asset accounting at all. So these are these three scenarios from which you want to move to new asset accounting in simple finance. Okay, so I think this note we already seen, which will talk about the activation of these components. If JVA is active, then you cannot go to new asset accounting. So before you perform any of the steps, it is necessary to check that these activities or these components are not active in your system. So first you need to do the preparation and pre-check. As you have seen one of the note and the preparation steps are, I'll show what are the preparation steps. Then you need to do the new customizing. This is same what we have done yesterday for general ledger accounting. So first we copied the configuration and then we done some new customizing setup which was not available earlier. Then migration of chart of depreciation. So once your configuration is completed, you can migrate the chart of depreciations which are available in your old system. So yesterday, like same what we have done for migration of the ledgers, here there is a separate step for migration of chart of depreciation. And new posting logic needs to be activated. So there is a separate step which will, once you activate that, the new logic which is available in simple finance that will start working. Also, it is mandatory to migrate every chart of depreciation. So if the customer is saying I'm already using new asset accounting, so for me also is it required to migrate my chart of depreciation, or this step is required for me also? The answer is yes. So whatever activities we are going to do in new asset accounting, it is recommended to perform each and every activity irrespective of the scenario. So either if you are using classic asset accounting, then also you should do. If you are already on new asset accounting, then also you have to do all these activities. And as we have discussed, migration to new asset accounting is just the migration of customizing. The values will not change during the migration. They will change when we do the data migration. This is the list of activities. Let's see each and every activity in detail rather than concentrating on this list. So the first is set new asset accounting activation status to in preparation. This means that before you start anything in new asset accounting, you need to make sure that uh, this particular activate asset accounting new has the status in preparation. I think I have to keep on. Yes. So activate asset accounting. Here you need to make sure when you do all these settings, the status should be in preparation. This means you are preparing the new asset accounting. You are still not completed all the configurations. You are still not completed all the migrations. And once all these steps are done, then only you have to make it activate. Right? So the first activity is to make this as the in preparation phase. Coming to the second activity, create a new ledger group for local valuation. So as I told you that there are some settings which are required for new asset accounting, which is actually under the part of new general ledger customizing. Why? Because as we know that if you are using local valuation, or maybe if you are using the different accounting principles for our uh, asset accounting. So we need to create them as the ledger groups, and we need to assign these ledger groups also to the accounting principles. Why? Because whenever we are going to create the depreciation area now, or whenever we are going to migrate whatever existing depreciation areas exist in our old system, it is now mandatory to assign each and every depreciation area to the accounting principle. So for example, till now the assignment of my depreciation area to my accounting principle was not mandatory, and that may be the reason I have not created separate ledger groups. But now because it is mandatory, you need to make sure that for each and every depreciation area, there is a separate ledger group, and this ledger group is also assigned to your accounting principle. And then the third step is you need to assign your depreciation area to the accounting principle. You got this point, or there is some confusion here? No confusion? Okay. So once you do this, once you create separate ledger groups, once you are done with the creation of accounting principles, when you are done with the assignment of ledger groups to accounting principles, and then depreciation areas to accounting principles, then you can then you should make sure that only the active company codes, the company codes which are actually working in your company, so are only assigned to your chart of depreciation. So for example, if you have configured the chart of depreciation and then you assigned the company codes which are actually not in use, so you make sure that uh, this company codes, the assignment of the chart of depreciation and company code has been reset, so that it may not create the confusion. So only the active, whatever company codes you are using in new asset accounting, they only should be assigned to your chart of depreciation. So if the company codes are just created as a dummy and they are assigned to your chart of depreciation, although I don't think this is the this is the case under the normal configuration, but if there is any dummy company code, you need to make sure that only the company codes which are active, they are only assigned to your chart of depreciation. Then, as we told that we have created the accounting principle now, and this is the activity where you will assign the depreciation areas to your accounting principles. So if this accounting principles were not created, we have seen in the last step that we can create the ledger groups, we can create the accounting principles, and once that is done in this activity, you will assign this depreciation areas to your accounting principles. And this depreciation areas will be copied, or maybe they are already in the system, right? So it is already copied from the original configuration. So you need to make sure that these accounting principles are assigned to all the depreciation areas that you have created. Okay. Also make sure, like the example, assign the accounting principle to each and make sure area 30 is configured to post APC values in immediately and depreciation periodically. So till now, when you copy the existing config from asset accounting, normally you will not find that multiple areas are actually posting in the real time or immediately, because it was not possible earlier. But now, because we know that now it is possible to post the real-time depreciation or real-time postings into the asset
Oh,
accounting, multiple accounting principles. That is the reason why if you have any requirement of uh, creating or maybe updating the postings in the real time for one of the depreciation area, it has to be kept as uh, post APC values immediately and depreciation periodically, or it may be also post in real time. So both are okay. You can do both. You can select whether you want to post it immediately and depreciation periodically, or you want to post both the values in real time. So I think when we configured the asset accounting while practicing, we already used both the depreciation areas are actually posting in real time. So that is also possible. Now, why it is 30? This is just the example. It is not necessary for your case that it should be 30.
yeah, but,
So,
sorry, Gaurav. This example is showing the way we were used to using the derived depreciation area config, right?
okay.
Because in that case, for the derived one, we were using the APC, and for the non-leading ledger one, we were using the depreciation periodically. So, but in this simple finance, that as you were saying, the
Mm-hmm.
non-leading ledger also, the other ledger group also can be posted real time. So this
Mm-hmm.
is not mandatory, right? We can, just now you told, either it is
Yes.
real time, or this config can be
Yes.
used. Both of
I'll
any
tell you the difference, Anurag. So even if you select this post APC values in immediately and depreciation periodically, even when you use these settings, what we were doing normally was we were copying this APC values from a leading depreciation area.
yeah.
You remember that? So
Yes.
now we are not going to do that. Now the values will be posted automatically to the new depreciation area also, and that is the settings which we maintain in the next step, I think.
Mm.
Yes, specify transfer of APC values. So here if you see that now
Yeah.
I'm not taking these values from 0, 1, rather it is initial. This 0, 0 means initial.
Yes.
Okay, and that is the reason why I don't need the derived depreciation areas now.
Yeah. So for this, so in this case, we have to specify that real time posting, right?
Yes,
We
you
should
can
not
use
we
both
should not
actually.
we should not follow the we should not follow the line which is shown in the previous slide in this case.
No. See, you have both the options available. For example, if you select this also, post APC values immediately and depreciation periodically, then also it is not necessary to create a derived depreciation area. Why?
Uh,
Because I'm not copying the values from 0, 1.
okay, so you mean to say there are two options? You can decide either real time or this
Yes,
option,
yes,
immediately and depreciation
yes,
periodically.
exactly.
Okay, either one of them.
Either one of them. Okay, so this has to be initial. Blank means it is initial. And then also, not only this, specify transfer of depreciation terms also has to be initial. I think why it is okay. It is not mentioned in the slide, but this activity also specify transfer of depreciation terms has also to be initial, means blank. Okay. Then set or reset reconciliation accounts. So I think most of you are aware that this transaction we normally use when we upload the cut over data for the assets. We set or reset the reconciliation indicator so that we can post the takeover values without impacting my uh, GL accounts, and then I post the manual entry to match my GL accounts with the asset accounting. So currently, if you see the below step, accounts approach, set, reset, reconciliation account for parallel valuation, this activity was not available earlier, right? Because normally when you were using account-based approach, you were just taking the values from leading depreciation area, right? And you were not allowed to reset or set reconciliation indicators for parallel valuation. But now this activity is also in place in which you can set or reset reconciliation accounts for parallel valuation also. So this particular activity has been added. So instead of this one activity, there are now two activities for setting and resetting of reconciliation accounts. I think most of you are aware of this set or reset reconciliation accounts, right? Or is there anyone who don't know what is this used for?
Yeah. We know that it is not possible for the local ones. Yeah.
Yes. So now it is possible using this screen.
Can
You
you
mean
show
to
it
say
in
that
instance? What is the difference?
you mean to say the reconciliation accounts are same, but we can do the settings for both the areas, or it is applicable only if we have two accounts for two areas? I mean, different accounts for different areas. Um,
Sorry, can you repeat what you said?
okay, my question, okay, for is saying reset or reset reconciliation accounts for parallel valuation.
Mm-hmm.
Parallel valuation means we have a leading ledger and other ledger, and both the ledgers are assigned to two areas.
No,
Both
no,
the
see,
areas.
I'm talking about accounts approach. So there are no two ledgers. There is only one ledger. Okay, I
Okay,
think
so
let me check if I have some example here. I think this will give
account
you the
approach, you mean to say we have two set of accounts for leading and non-leading?
yes. There is, see, again,
Yeah.
two set of accounts are not needed. We discussed in the last session that even if
Okay,
you create
so okay,
separate
even if it,
ledger group,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
also can work. Okay, let me
Oh,
show you if they have provided some example here. Okay, it is not here. It is under new asset accounting. Is there any example? Okay, let's read this. See, this activity is only necessary if you work with accounts approach. If you are using ledger approach, which means if you have different ledgers for leading and non-leading, then this is not required. In this activity, you can define GL accounts as reconciliation accounts for depreciation areas or parallel valuation. I think this will also give you the idea. When you click here, it will tell you, it will ask you, for example, let me take any company code, which was our company code T009.
we,
Because we are not used this account-based approach, that's why it is not showing, I think.
I think T
Okay,
double zero
let's.
five or 11. Sorry.
No, it was T009 itself, right?
Actually,
Or you
we
created T005.
no. You only created for account-based approach T double zero five T015. I think.
T015. Yes. So if you are using account-based approach, so what this means is you are using the same account, right? 2005 for your leading depreciation area also and for your non-leading depreciation area also, right? Because we discussed this. It is account-based approach. It doesn't mean that you have to create a separate set of accounts in simple finance. If you create a separate ledger group, that will also work, right?
Yeah, so in this case, basically account is same, but ledger is one.
Exactly. So ledger group, for that particular ledger group, this will be blocked.
Yeah, ledger group are two. You created two ledger groups, but both the ledger groups has one ledger only. Yes,
Yes, see,
that's
I
how
have
you
created,
create it.
let's say I have created 0L and I have created
Yeah,
NL as the ledger
yeah,
groups. But
yeah,
both these ledgers were assigned to my leading ledger 0L.
yeah. That's what I'm saying now. The
Yes,
individual ledger is same, but there are two ledger groups and account also
yes,
same. That is called account approach along with one ledger.
right. So when you do the changes here, for example, if I just remove this as a reconciliation indicator, what will happen is I'll be able to post anything directly into this account, but only for that particular ledger group, non-leading ledger group.
It should be both ledger group, right? Because
Should be
here
both.
nowhere it is mentioned that which ledger group it is.
No, no,
Yeah,
no. See, it is for parallel valuation, this is the ledger group, and for the leading ledger, this is the setting.
Okay.
You got this point? This is for my 0L,
Okay.
can you
and
go
this
to
is for my parallel
can you go to
valuation.
can you go to T015 in the 0L?
Yes. Okay. Let me save this first. If you want to see, let me just save this setting. Right? You want me to make it
Yeah,
non-reconciliation.
just make it blank and
Okay.
in the and now can you show us the other one for 0L?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. T015. Gee. Oh,
Oh, same. So basically it is for both, right?
it should not be actually. Just a minute. Let me try. If hmm. Then what is the point? Okay, let's go through this documentation. For depreciation areas, it is saying reconciliation accounts for the depreciation of parallel valuations or define them again as the account for normal postings. Okay, possibly it is no longer possible to make this change in financial accounting due to you can change the reconciliation account. If you have to change the reconciliation for the leading valuation, use the following. Okay, if in the parallel valuation you have lots of activity you want to define as reconciliation, instead using this activity, you can use the following program convert account based to okay. Up to now you have represented one or more additional valuations using separate periodic posting or direct posting that post to the separate accounts in this balance sheet accounts are posted directly up to now. Only new asset accounting is available in both the leading valuation and the parallel valuation post asset values to finance. Once the migration to taken place, you can only post to this balance sheet accounts from asset accounting. You have to make this asset balance sheet account to reconciliation. You can choose one of the following procedure. This is okay, but what is the difference? This is just telling the same thing what is normally followed.
Is it relevant in the case when we have two set of accounts only?
I don't think so because definitely if that is the case then why I need the separate. Okay, yes, it can be, Anurag, because
If
if
you
I'm
know
using
because
separate set of
yeah,
accounts, so
yeah,
that set
you
of
know,
accounts will not be available in my first screen because it is
yeah,
related to 0L and
okay.
yes,
I can tell you
possible.
the current scenario. So in the current scenario, in we suppose if we are not using single finance, the second
Hmm.
set of accounts cannot be recon account. It should be normal account. Then only we can use that other accounts. So now
Okay.
we have an option to have the second set of accounts also as a recon account. So maybe that is why they're given two screens. I'm just guessing.
That is okay, but again, Anurag, then what is the point of maintaining the same GL account? So it means that I have to maintain the separate two set of accounts if I
And that's
want
what I'm
to
saying.
keep it.
Maybe that's what I'm saying. It is it relevant only when we have two set of accounts?
Yes. Whatever example you have given, I think that is perfect. Like if you
Yeah.
have two set of accounts, so for example, if I'm using GL account 2004 for my leading valuation and GL 2005 for my non-leading valuation. So when I open the first activity, it will only show me 2004. And when I open the second activity, it will only show me 2005. That is perfectly fine. So if you are maintaining it reconciliation, non-reconciliation, that will work. But what
Yeah.
if I am using the same set of accounts? Okay,
Yeah.
I think then yes, it is not allowing. So if you make it reconciliation, it will be automatically reconciliation for both. And if you're not maintaining, it will be not the reconciliation. Yes. Yes, Anurag, you're right.
Yeah. Where it is written?
No, no, it is not written. I am just
Okay. Okay. Okay.
whatever you
Okay.
example you have given, I have just seen taken that. So
Okay.
let's see if something is written like this. I think they are assuming in this document that we are using separate set of accounts, and that is the reason why I think they have given the first line that if you work with account approach, but they should also
Account
say that,
approach.
and you are using separate set of accounts.
Yeah, because maybe they assume that.
Yes, yes, it is assumed, I think. Okay, but I think you are perfectly right. So currently, as you said, that the separate set of accounts, if you are maintaining, there is no control to make it reconciliation account. They have to be uh, created as the non-reconciliation account. But now you have the option to control your non-leading valuation also through the use of reconciliation indicator.
Yes, that's what I think. Yeah.
And that is the reason why they added this activity under the node. Yes. All of you got the point, or you want some example, or like if you want, I think I'll explain it. Harish, you are clear? You were asking something.
I am clear. Understood.
Yes. Yes. Okay, let me go back to PPT. These are done. These are done. Yes. Next. And create and assign the technical clearing account. As you have seen that now this technical clearing account has come into the picture, in which you are going to actually bifurcate your accounting into two parts. One is the normal general part, and then the valuation specific part, and that will be only done through the use of technical clearing account. So I think you remember when we posted the transaction, normally it is posted as the asset account debit and vendor account credit, but now it was technical clearing account to vendor clearing vendor account, which was document type KR, and there was separate document types created in each of the valuation, which is asset accounting document AA, which was technical clearing account debit to technical clearing account credit to asset account debit. All of you remember this, and this is the setting. This is the GL, or this is the configuration step where you actually need to define the technical clearing account.
Sorry, can you please repeat the accounting entry which we discussed last time?
Yes, it was like uh, when we post any acquisition entry, normally the accounting entry which we get in ECC system is my asset GL account debit to vendor credit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now going forward, because asset accounting will also post the document as the general document and the valuation specific document, which means that there will be one document which will be created for all ledgers, which will be vendor credit to technical clearing account debit. Okay, and then there will be valuation specific. For example, under 0L, there will be a document type AA, which will be my asset debit to technical clearing account credit. So at any point of time, this technical clearing account has the balance of 0.
Yeah. I got to know because and I asked that how to see the vendor line item in that case because there are two document types. Yeah. I know that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So
So
this is
it's
the activity where you define the technical clearing accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Specify alternative document type for accounting principle specific documents. So if you want to specify a different document type, for example, currently everything is posted to AA. But if you want that instead of posting to AA for this particular non-leading ledger, it should be, let's say, ZA. So that also you can control using this activity called as specify alternate document type for accounting principle specific documents. Just a minute. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And then the quantity update. This also we discussed. Like if you have assigned in the asset master that the quantity update is available, so there should be only one depreciation area which is doing the quantity update. Because if you do both, what will happen is it will create the duplication. So if you purchase one asset under all the leading or sorry all the ledgers or all the depreciation areas, so if there are three depreciation areas, it will do three, but that is not allowed. So this quantity update has to be only for one depreciation area, and it is always recommended that this depreciation area should be your leading depreciation area. Okay. Once all these activities are done, then you are ready to migrate your chart of depreciation. So whatever settings are maintained under your chart of depreciations, now if you want to migrate to the simple finance, this is the activity which will help you in doing so. Uh, Obviously, whatever we have done till now, this was also part of migrating to the new chart of depreciation, but this program can be used if you want to skip all these manual activities or some of the manual activities. Okay, so when you run this program, this will automatically make sure that whatever are the settings that needs to be maintained, it will be maintained, and then there are minimal activities that you have to do manually. But it is always recommended to not use this program because there are only 6 to 7 activities that needs to be done manually. And if you run this program directly without creating ledger groups, without assigning the accounting principles, obviously it is going to through the errors. So it is always suggested to do these activities manually rather than using this program, which is required if you want to perform the migration of chart of depreciation automatically. So you use this program to migrate your chart of depreciations automatically. The program creates an application log, like whatever are the errors, if it is migrated successfully or not. Once you have completed the installation of Simple Finance, a structure containing the necessary, we already know this, that you will find this structure once you install the SAP Simple Finance add-on. So system will create the ledger groups automatically for account-based approach. So if you are using account-based approach, system will create the ledger groups automatically. So if you are using, let's say, 3 depreciation areas and all of them are actually updating your 0L, although it is not possible that if you are already it was not possible till now to update the real-time postings to all. But if you are using APC values takeover from the 01 and depreciation periodically, in that case, if that is also updating to the 0L, what the system will do is it will actually create another ledger group for non-leading valuation, and that ledger group again will be assigned to your normal leading ledger 0L. Any confusion here?
Okay. One thing. There is a node called uh, preparation of just how we did yesterday for GL. For now,
Mm-hmm.
there is a node for asset accounting also. In that node, we will have these steps. We will come to know about these steps one after another, or we have to, or this will be in the asset accounting new config node.
Yes, see again, the node contains the list of asset accounting, whatever was. Let me show you.
Because
So there are some things
whatever
which,
screenshots you are showing, it is the asset accounting new node, not the
yes,
migration
there are
node.
a lot of activities which are actually part of new asset accounting node. Although there is a node for new asset accounting, but there are some uh, before performing this activities, there are some activities which you have to perform directly into the asset accounting node. So
So
although
that's
the
what
node
we are
is there, but
discussing.
it doesn't contain all these activities. These activities you have to do from asset accounting node.
So that's what we are discussing now, the asset accounting node. Then we will come
Yes.
to migration node later on.
No, there are already some activities. Okay, let me show you. See, this first activity, what we have done is activate asset accounting. We made this under preparation. So this
Yeah, yeah,
activity
yeah.
is actually
Okay,
under SAP Simple Finance node. And then
okay,
before coming to this, there are these activities that has to be performed directly into your uh, financial accounting node or maybe asset accounting node. Because see, this define ledger group and all this, we hope that because we have completed the new GL configuration customizing, this should be already available. But if it is not available, then we just need to check for each and every depreciation area whether the ledger group is created or not. You got the point?
yeah.
Okay. So we need to enter the description. Although this new ledger group will be created automatically, but you need to provide the description. It will not copy it automatically. You need to provide the description in this activity. So the same activity called as define ledger group, you will see automatically created ledger group as ampersand the depreciation area ampersand. So for example, if your uh, depreciation area is 0, 1 and there is another depreciation area called as 30. So if for 30 is also posting the APC values and it is also updating 0L, then what will happen is now there will be new ledger group created which will be ampersand 30 ampersand, which will be assigned to your depreciation area 30. And this ledger group ampersand 30% will also post to 0L, will also be assigned to the ledger 0L. But again, as I told you, this will be only done when you are doing the migration using this program. If you don't do, I already told you how to do using the manual. So you can decide what code you want to give to the ledger group if you are doing this activity manually.
Actually, ledger group code 2 digit, right? It is ampersand code of
No, I think
depreciation area, then the ampersand.
for automatically creating this ledger groups, it will allow 4, I think. Let me show you. Okay, let's complete this and then maybe I'll go there.
Okay.
I think only 2 slides are remaining. Yes, so all the settings, there are actually 9 steps. So once all these 9 steps are done, you can actually go to activate asset accounting. Obviously, before this, you should check this prerequisite for activating asset accounting, which will tell you whether you are ready for activating asset accounting or not. And once that is done, you can actually click here, and earlier you made this setting as in preparation mode. Now you can make it as a active mode, which means now new asset accounting is activated. Yes, so here you need to make it as a active.
Okay, this we need to active before migration, right?
Yes, before data
Once you,
migration.
okay,
This is after completing the migration of the customizing settings. So once
okay,
your chart
got
of depreciations are copied from old system, once all the depreciation areas are copied, once you changed all the settings which are required, then you can just make it active and then you can perform the data migration.
okay, got it.
So let's see all these activities here also. Let me close this. So here if you see, this is the actually Anurag, you asked whether all these activities are included in this. There is only automatic activity which is available under this note. But
Oh,
as I said you
only
that
this
it is
one.
recommended.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But as I told you, it is recommended to not use this automatic functionality. Rather than that, you just make sure that all these activities are done manually. So if you want to do these activities manually, then only you need to go to new asset accounting or maybe general ledger accounting subnode, and then you need to make these settings.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yes. So before that, let's try to see the length of ledger group. So within financial accounting, ledger. Sorry, this is ledger. We need ledger group. See, it is possible, Harish, 4 digits.
Okay, got it.
Yes, so M% chart of depreciation code and then M%. But if you are doing it manually, you can select, you can choose any code you want to give to the ledger group. It is not needed that it should be M%. Okay, so once I have created the ledger group, I have to assign this ledger group to my accounting principal. Okay, and this accounting principal, whatever I am assigning to my ledger group, I have to make sure that my depreciation areas are assigned to this accounting principal. So for example, if I have 2 depreciation areas, out of which one is posting in real time and I want to make second also posting in the real time, I need to make sure that it is assigned to my accounting principal, or rather each and every depreciation area has to be assigned to your accounting principal. So let's see. So for example, T009, as we have seen, we assign each and every depreciation area to accounting principal. So these two areas are posting in real time, while these two areas are posting in, they are actually not posting because they are used for the parallel currency. Also, till now, if you were using the uh, parallel currency and you have not created the depreciation area for all this parallel currency, that is also required, right? So in your company code, if there is one parallel currency which is activated, you have to create a separate depreciation area for that also, and that should be area does not post. Okay, then what are the other activities? There were some activities which were like depreciation areas. Specify transfer of APC values. This has to be initial, which means why this is okay. This has to be initial because this is only posting and these are the parallel valuations, and that is the reason they are taking the values from here. So whatever areas you are posting in real time, that has to be initial for the APC values also and for depreciation values also. Clear? Then as we have seen the definition of
Sorry,
technical.
Gaurav.
Yes.
Actually, there is a physical year specification in that configurations. What does it mean? And because last time we were discussing cannot have the different physical year, right? Is it related to that?
Where
Because when
exactly?
I
In the general valuation?
yeah just yeah physical year specification.
No, just a minute. What is this? No, I think this is if you want to use different fiscal year variant, but this settings normally we don't maintain here. Let me see if T009. Is this activity available in our normal ECC also, or this is something new you mean to say?
Actually, this is something new, I think, because we were discussing we cannot have different fiscal year variants for leading and non-leading, sorry, depreciation areas, right?
Okay, let me allow different variants for depreciation area within.
However, I also read something like we should have the same fiscal year, but different periods can be.
No, we discussed this. We can have the different fiscal year variants, but the number of periods has to be same, and start and end date has to be same. This already we discussed from the first topic itself, first day itself, that if you are using the different depreciation areas and you want to have different fiscal year variant for this two depreciation areas, it has to be the start and the end date has to be same. But I think this was Anurag, this was available in earlier version also, right? I think
Yeah, this
you
was
only
available.
discussed this, that
Yeah,
this functionality was available. Let me check otherwise.
Yes, yes.
it was
I
available
think
earlier
so.
also. Fiscal year was there.
Yes, this is something not, this is not new. Otherwise, it should have been covered in our.
But then the question also valid. We were discussing since start that fiscal year should be same.
No,
Now
no, no.
we
It should not be same. It should be the code can be different, but the start date and the end date has to be same
for asset accounting, right?
for asset accounting. This is only
Yeah,
pertaining to asset accounting.
yeah, for controlling year and company code, that is a
That is
different.
different. Yes, that is
Okay.
different. That has to be same. Even
Yeah.
separate
For
code
asset
with
accounting, we
same numbers
discussed
may
that.
not be.
Yeah, asset accounting, we discussed that the date should be same, not the period, right? Even
Yes.
the date should be
Yes.
same.
Sorry, date should be in the sense. See, if we use a different fiscal year variant, it can be sometime K3 and V6, and let's say V6, some April to March and November, January to December, different fiscal year variants, and how to maintain the.
Yeah, K4 and V3, right?
Yeah.
Those.
No, it will not allow. I think
It will not
it will
allow.
not
We
allow.
discussed.
Here
We
also, it
discussed
will
this.
not.
Same physical year variant for both. Let's say K3 means K3 only we have to maintain for both. But how to maintain different posting periods?
No, no, no. I'm not getting you.
I mean, how to maintain the start and end date of the posting periods for the
No,
same
no, no.
physical.
When we define the fiscal year variant, we define the start date and the end date in the configuration of fiscal year variant itself, right?
Yeah, correct.
So when for example, if I'm defining the V3, my start date is 1st of April and end date is 31st of March. So
Okay.
if I
For
want to
other
use,
ledger, if I want to use a different periods, because it cannot be say the same period like a leading ledger to non-leading ledger, right? I want to have a different periods.
no, but then you have to create a separate
I
fiscal year
have
variant for
tested, but
that.
I have got the same error. We cannot have the different fiscal year. But how to maintain the posting period, start and end date for the same fiscal year variant?
I'm actually not getting your question. Anurag, have you got the question or somebody, Harish?
Maybe he's asking the question is that means the the requisite is the start and end date should be same. But if suppose if we are using V3 and K4, then how we can use that?
No,
Am
we
I right?
cannot use. Simple, we cannot use.
We cannot use. I also tested. It is working because I throwing the error. It should have the
Yeah.
same fiscal year variant. But if we want to maintain a different posting periods, I mean the
So
start
you
and
have to
end date.
change the fiscal year settings then, and you should not do for standard. For example, you should not change anything in the K4. Rather, you can create another fiscal year variant with whatever dates you want to specify, whatever periods you want to create, and the start date has to be same with the V3. Then only you can assign that fiscal year variant to your non-leading ledger.
Okay.
You got the point, Bhuvi?
Yeah. Means the start and end should be same.
Yes. You
For
directly you cannot
leading,
assign K4,
for
and it is
leading
also not
and
suggested to change
okay.
the period and start and end date of the K4. Rather, if you want, you can create a new new fiscal year variant, change whatever dates you want to change there, and then you can assign. Okay, so this settings are actually available here also, and the same settings like whatever we discussed, that it is not allowed for uh, for the years which are having different end and start and end date. Okay, then we were here, we have done this. Yes, next is integration, in which there is a new step called as technical clearing account for integrated asset acquisition, where you define the technical clearing account which will be used when you post any acquisition entry. And there is another field also, define different technical clearing account for required field control. Let's see what is this. Maybe let's try to do this. I not use this because this is the only thing which we normally configure, but let's see what is this. Okay, for different account determination, you can assign the different accounts. So for example, for buildings, you can create technical clearing account for building. Similarly, for furniture, you can create technical clearing account for furniture, and based on this account determination, you can assign that particular technical clearing account. But normally it is not required because this is not going to be managed as the open item, and you will not find any balance in this technical clearing account. So there is no point maintaining all these different accounts for different account determinations.
Sorry, Gaurav.
Yes, Vishnu.
Hello. Is it mandatory step to maintain the technical clearing account?
No, no, no. Yes, this one, first one is mandatory. Without this, you cannot do any acquisition.
Whether, for example, if the business wants to continue the old logic, for example, instead of posting,
not possible at all. The old logic will not work in new asset accounting. That was the first thing I think when we started off with the first thing which we learned in new asset accounting. You cannot post any document using old logic.
for example, okay, now right, the system is creating the two line item. One is the asset is debit and the technical clearing account is a credit, and one is the debit is clearing as a technical clearing account and vendor line item. So instead of two entries, so business wants to only the previous one, only one entry like that, because
Not
now
possible.
otherwise the business user it may be in the confused whether the two line items something like that. So they
No,
want
but
to
see,
continue one.
yes, it is not possible because there are two document types also getting created. So one is KR and one is AA. So whenever you will post anything in new asset accounting under acquisition, there will be two postings. One will be the general posting and one will be the valuation specific posting. And you uh, cannot go back to the old logic. That is the only option available in Simple Finance.
Oh, okay. So it is a mandatory. So we need
Yes,
to.
this is mandatory. Without this, you cannot perform any acquisition. Then again, integrated transaction alternate document type for account specific posting. So normally it is document type AA, but you can specify that if you want to uh, create it as a separate document type. For example, normally when I purchase anything, it is normally document type KR, but and when I acquire anything, so my general document is KR and my valuation specific document is AA. But if I want to change this to something else to identify whether this is the asset accounting related transaction related to the acquisition or it is to the retirement, that also you can do by changing the derived document types. This is by company code also. So you can define whether for a particular company code you want to have a separate document type. So it is combination of company code, document type, the original document type and the derived document type.
Sorry, what is this? Can you please explain?
Yes. So for example, when we discuss the acquisition posting, so my original or general valuation, sorry, general posting is document type KR. Agree?
Yeah.
Yes. And then when
Yes.
the system posts the valuation specific posting, it creates document type AA.
Yes.
Okay. So for original document type KR, it is posting the valuation specific posting document type AA. Similar to that, when you do any let's say retirement posting, at that time the normal general document will be DR and the valuation specific document type again will be becoming AA by standard
Yeah.
system, because normally
Yeah.
AA is considered as the document type for all different postings. But if you want to bifurcate whether this is related to acquisition or this is related to retirement, so you can say okay, AA for KR and let's say AP for or maybe AR for DR. That is also possible, and that is also possible at the company code level also. So these are the two settings. One is at the document type, another is at the level of company code.
Okay, so basically, so it means original means the KR and the derive means the asset one. We can
Yes,
differentiate.
asset accounting document, valuation specific document.
And in this simple finance, document type AP is out of the picture, right? We don't need ASKB.
Document type AP.
Generally, is for ASKB. That is out of the picture by default.
Mm, what?
Because
So what is a?
you know that now it is real time posting. Na? Previously, we were
No, no,
posting on
that is okay.
periodic
But
basis.
document type, which document type you are saying?
AP by default, SAP gives AP for ASKB
Okay, so now
transactions.
it is not available.
No, I'm saying that we don't need ASKB now, so AP is not required.
Yes,
That's
ASKB
what
is
my
not required, and that I think it is not available as a transaction code also. But I am not sure about the document type, whether it is also removed or yes, it is also removed, I think.
okay. So no, there is no document type.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, this was this, and then we have seen the uh, set and reset reconciliation accounts also. Have you missed
Mhm.
any activity to see in the system, or all the activities are covered? Let's go back to the PPT and let's see everything is covered, or we need to see something here. So define technical clearing account done. Alternate document type also done. Quantity update we have not seen, but this already we have seen when we have done the configuration. So I
Yeah.
think you remember this, but again, if you want, I'll just show you the screen. Quantity update, it was, I think, under depreciation area itself. Here, okay. Yes, define depreciation area for quantity update and for this company code. So area 1 is going to update the quantity of the fixed asset. Okay, then this migration is okay. Have we missed any activity? This is done. This is also done. This is also, we have seen the depreciation area assignment to the accounting principal and assigned. This is the normal one. So you just need to make sure that only the active chart of depreciation, so active company codes are assigned to your chart of depreciation. Yes, we covered all. And the final step, once all this is done, you need to just a minute. I'm not able to share my screen. Okay, can you see the SAP screen now?
Yes.
Okay, once this is done, then let's go back to our migration folder, simple finance folder. Then you can also perform, once all the settings are done, you can also perform this automatic program also if you want, so that to make sure that everything is done. Because if you already done the settings, it is not going to reverse the settings. Rather, it will just check if something is missing. If it is not missing, it will just uh, give you the positive run that okay, this is correct. And once this is done, for each and every activity, there is a log which will tell you whether everything has been migrated or not. Okay, so it will show you like this. So for each and every type every time when you migrate or run this program, it will show you one line. So all these lines are because we have done this activity multiple times in the test system. This perform manual activities. This is again going to show you whatever we have covered till now. It will show you all these different activities. So define asset-based reconciliation accounts, define depreciation areas for quantity update, technical clearing account, alternate document type, specify revenue distribution. I think this was available earlier also. That is the reason why it is optional. If you want to post net book value instead of gain and loss, that also this is actually required. So
Gaurav, one question. We haven't
yes,
seen the retirement entries yet. Is it
yes,
available
yeah,
now?
it is. No, it is still not working. It is now showing the dump, and this has already been highlighted to the technical person. He is still working on this.
Because previously it was not real time in both the ledgers. Now we want to see that.
Yes, yes, yes. See, I am getting this dump, but I'll try to do this here because I also wanted to because I don't think this will take us more than 1 hour once this is available because we are already done with the acquisition. We just want to see the retirement postings and the
Yeah,
depreciation there.
so yeah, basically the different profit or loss in different areas, that entry we want to see in real
Yes,
time
yes, yes.
postings.
Yes. Otherwise, if it is not getting resolved by the next week, what I can do is I can just take the screenshot from one of the system in which I'll show you all different entries
Yeah, please.
or for each and every transaction, what are the entries which, but I am positive that they are already working. Today also I got the call regarding this issue to replicate this issue in front of them. So maybe they are
Okay.
working. If possible, they will try to close this by next week.
Okay, thank you. And can you please show that just now you were showing one screen where there are
Yes,
some
yes, I'm coming to it. I'm coming to it.
yeah.
This one, migration from Classic to new GL, then migration for new asset accounting. Perform this one.
Yeah, this one, yes. So it is
Yes.
showing us the steps, right? Yeah. What is this?
Yes. So
Post
these
net
are the
book
steps.
value instead of gain loss. What is this?
Hmm, this I'll also to check. Let me check. This is. I think this is this check transaction types because now earlier we were using transaction types for depreciation area specific postings. So that transaction types will not work. So it is suggested or recommended that you delete all these transaction types which are posting to the particular depreciation area because they are not required anymore. You can directly specify which depreciation area you want to post a transaction,
Yeah.
right?
That you already told us before.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Let me show you this because this also I have also not gone through. Post net book value instead of gain loss. Is it something new or this was available earlier also?
So you see, I'm not able to understand properly. Maybe it is something related to the existing one, but we have to see.
Let's
We have
let's
to check.
yes, let's
We have to
try.
check first. Yeah. And
Yes,
because it is showing us required, so we have to do that.
yes, yes, yes. Mm, Is it showing the step also where I should find this? Let's try. I don't think so. Post net book value. This actually two. Specify revenue distribution. We have also not seen this.
Yeah.
Post net book value instead of gain or specify revenue distribution for asset.
See, generally when we scrap an asset, system posts the
Mm-hmm.
net book value to the loss account. Is it something related to that?
No,
I'm
let's
not
try
sure.
to understand because I don't want to play like tuka.
Yeah.
Rather, we should
Yeah.
check this because.
Yeah, maybe you can check and let us know, or if you are not
No,
sure
no, no.
now.
I think it will be available now itself. Let's try. If it is available, then otherwise I'll just try this separately. If it is available now itself, we can just understand that. Hmm, where should I check this? What do you think? Because the path is also not clear.
See,
Try
In
the transactions,
transaction, yes, I think it should be in the transaction. Gain loss
gain and
posting.
loss.
gain
Yes,
loss
here.
posting
So post net book value instead of gain loss.
and okay on top. Okay, what is this now?
Specify whether the system should post the net book value of the asset at asset retirement instead of gain or loss.
Uh,
What is this
so there
indicator?
will be a gain or loss depending on what is the NBV. Then what does it mean?
Yes, yes, that is normal behavior. So whenever we sell any asset, if we are selling it below the uh, net value, it is showing as the loss. If you are selling it at the higher price, then it should show the gain. But I think this is something which you can directly book with NPV. How? But so you for
Oh,
asset retirement imposed to gain or depreciation.
or maybe it's a very specific requirement in a country. That's what it shows in France. It doesn't need a gain or loss entry. The clearing sale account will be posted with the net book value. Currently, what is happening when you retire an asset, the account called revenue from asset clearing, it is posted at the amount at which is sold an asset. Okay.
Right.
So instead of that, it is posted with the net book value, so there will not be any gain or loss. Maybe that's a legal requirement in France. That's what it is showing. So it is not relevant for us. For us,
Where it is
maybe
doing? France?
it is showing a note. This posting variant is not allowed in most countries. In
Okay,
some
here,
countries,
yes.
such as
Such
France, it
country.
is legal requirement. So it is just a very specific requirement, not
Country
not
specific.
not necessary for all the countries.
Then why they
Yeah.
say it is required? So if it is required in the countries, then only it should be required. But if the country requirements are not, then I think it is not required
Yeah. So
actually.
we can can you go to the revenue one also? The
Yes, this
the
one.
previous.
Define distribution for fixed asset retirement. Okay. This is
Okay.
like,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yes, you can opt for alternative type of revenue regardless of the setting that you made here for the revenue distribution of it. Normally it is at the APC, right? No, sorry. Normally it is at the net book value.
Yeah. Maybe we have this APC option also. That also is specific very. So not necessary to do obviously.
I
Yes,
guess
but
this
again,
is
here
if
they
you
are
are
not.
retiring in more than one asset, how the revenue should be distributed between the assets.
Sorry,
Maybe
sorry,
that,
Raghu.
but still it is optional. We don't
This
need to
is
do this.
this is like I am selling five assets. I get a one revenue amount. How the revenue should be distributed to these five assets?
No, but then why they are talking about
Okay,
this
because you are
Which
saying because
proportion I have to
the
allocate this revenue? Is it based on acquisition value or is it based on the current
yeah,
value?
yeah,
okay,
because
okay. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, yes. Got
yeah,
it.
it is written in the note when creating a work list for mass, so it is basically applicable for mass retirement. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So if there are multiple assets and you
Mm-hmm.
want to decide whether, because we are not providing the exact values for each and every asset, right, Raghu?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. In
yes.
that case, how this revenue should be distributed for all these for example, two assets. Whether it should be distributed at the acquisition APC price or it should be distributed at the net book value. What should be the normal scenario? Like if I'm not maintaining the settings, what is done normally? I think it should be net book value.
Yeah, net book value should be the ideal thing.
Yeah, net book value only.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It is always NBV.
Yeah, always net book value.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, the
But I think
profit or
this
loss is
again,
revenue minus NBV always.
right. So this is again, I think, something which is very peculiar to the particular country requirements.
Maybe yes.
Okay, let's go back and see if we are missing something else also. Where was that? Perform. So define asset balance sheet accounts for parallel valuations as reconciliation accounts. This we have done. Define depreciation areas for quantity update. Technical clearing account, alternative document type. This both we have seen now. Revenue distribution and post net book value. Then the explanation. What is this? Only valid for account approach. Required entry of integrated asset acquisition has to be posted. Yes. So number one is not relevant if you are using, sorry, which is this situation 3. Situation 3 is new general ledger accounting is active, classic asset accounting, ledger approach. So if you are using ledger approach, then this is not relevant because we are not using account based approach. So this activity is only required in terms of when we are using account based approach. Got the point?
Yeah.
Okay. Second one is this one, define technical clearing account for integrated asset acquisition, a required entry if integrated acquisitions are to be posted. And that is the mandatory. So number 3 is this one, specify alternate document types, can be a required entry if document splitting is active. Document splitting is active. Can be. Can be means not required, no? Can be. So if you want to split the document based on, like if the requirement is different from the normal document type, then only you need to define this document type, right? That is the reason I think it is written can be.
It's a misleading statement. They are saying can be and then required entry.
No, but I think this, if document splitting is active and you want to have a separate behavior for a particular depreciation area, then only you need to create a separate document type. Otherwise, it is not mandatory, and that is the reason they have written this optional.
See,
number 4.
When document splitting is active, we need to define either GL accounts or document type as relevant, right? Maybe it is pertains to that one. That's why it is saying can be required. Because in that case, you need to define that this new document type also at that config for the document splitting part.
Can you repeat, Anurag?
See, in the document splitting config, we have two configs. One is classify GL accounts for document splitting, and also we have to the SAP is giving another config called document types.
Yes.
So if you are creating a new document type, you need to config over there also. Maybe it is referred to that. This sentence means that. That's why it is required. See, you are creating a new document type, right?
If I want to have the same settings, for example, if I'm just using document type AA and I want to have the same settings for my okay. Sorry, yaar, this is actually misleading. This term, na, accounting principle specific. It is not accounting principle specific. We have seen this. It is document type specific. If you remember, for KR different, for DR different. You remember? Let me show you this. I think this statement itself is misleading. It is saying accounting specific, accounting principle specific document, but this is not accounting principle specific. It is actually the document type specific. So for DR, I can have different document type, for KR I can have different document type, and that is the reason why if document splitting is on, because for KR there is a separate requirement, like the document splitting works differently in KR and DR, and that is the reason if you want to split A also accordingly, then you need to have the separate document type.
Yes. Looks like.
Yes. Okay, number 5, check transaction type. If transaction types are restricted, this we already discussed. So if you are already using the transaction types which are restricted to the depreciation areas, you need to remove that transaction types because that are not going to be worked. So that you have to do manually. You have to remove all these transaction types which are particular to the particular depreciation area. These are the details. I think it will explain each and everything, whatever we have discussed now. Then, yes, this is just showing you each and everything, whatever has been discussed. Everything is specified here. Yes, so this is done. Yes, once this is done, you can check the prerequisites for activating the new asset accounting. This is before importing of customizing switch. Just a minute, let me show you this first. So before activating this has to be done. So these are the steps that you have to perform, which will be checked using this prerequisite activity, whether all the steps are performed or not. So what are the steps? Create prerequisite for use of new asset accounting, which we have already done. Install the SAP Simple Finance add-on with new asset accounting, which is already done. Follow the relevant steps for migration. General ledger accounting done. Migrate the chart of depreciation done. Make additional manual settings in new asset accounting done. Check the prerequisite. This is the activity which we are talking about, current activity, and activate the customizing switch. Steps in downstream system, productive system. Okay, this is for the customizing system and this is for the production system. Create prerequisite for asset new accounting. Done. Log the test system and production system to posting. Install the SAP. Follow the relevant. Create necessary master data. Import the new customizing settings. Check the productive system whether the transport successfully. But why it is talking about these activities here? So in this customizing activity, you check the following. This is important, I think. You check if the prerequisite for activating are met. Only in case of errors, the switch of new could not be set to active, but instead to set it to posting not possible. For example, in that case, check which prerequisites are not met. Okay, so what they are saying is this activity has to be performed in all the systems. So for example, whenever you are working with the customizing system, this is the mandatory activity that you run this program before activation of new asset accounting, because the next activity is activation of asset accounting. So before you do that, you just make sure that this check is performed and everything is error free. Not only here, once you once you transport all the TRs which you have created in the customizing system, and once you export or once you import these settings into your test and productive environment, it is also suggested that you do this exercise, this customizing prerequisite check in the productive and this system also. Exhibit the note message in the application log. So once we activate this, once we run this, it will show us whether if any settings are missing. So because the new asset accounting is already active in our case, it is saying it is no longer possible to do this check. But if it is in the preparation phase, as we discussed earlier, that before doing the settings, we need to come here, we need to make sure that this is under in preparation, and then once all the settings are done, including the manual settings, we'll check this report. If it is showing some error, we need to solve this error first. Then again,
Bhubaneswar Kumar should be.
sorry. Are you watching the match also? Anurag. Hello.
I think Anurag is watching the
Yes,
match
Anurag
also.
is watching the match. He's talking about Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Sorry. Actually, one of my friend was talking suddenly with the match, so sorry for that. Yeah.
Okay, not an issue. So you run this report, and once you see that all these errors are not appearing here, there is no error, everything is in green, then only you should go ahead and activate the new asset accounting. So this tick should be active and save. So this will complete your migration of customizing settings and whatever is the manual customizing settings that you have to do under new asset accounting.
So this activate asset accounting new is the last step, right? After doing everything we have done.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And
then
what
there
is
are
this
some. Yes,
adjustment in
I'm
new?
coming to it.
Okay.
So once this is done, you just need to do this adjustments. So for example, this is whether the just a minute, let me directly go through, because every document is talking the same thing: prerequisite, preliminary check. Yes, here. If until now you have been using new asset accounting from enhancement package 7, check whether accounting principles of your leading and parallel valuation exist in your system. If not, then create them. Check ledger and ledger groups. These are also done. Assign accounting principles to your ledger groups. Define settings to general entry ledger, and then adjust parameters in chart of depreciation. So what is this last step? You can either migrate the chart of depreciation automatically or do them manually. We already done. You adjust the parameters in your active chart of depreciation, then call the log to check whether the changes are complete. So I think if this is only relevant if you are doing this migrate of chart of depreciation automatically, and again if you are doing manually also, it is the suggested way to just check whether all my chart of depreciation parameters have been adjusted. This means whatever new settings were required, they are complete or not. So for example, because the migration is ended, that's why it is showing this error. Otherwise it will show that all the parameters have been adjusted for the chart of depreciation. And then the display log again. So for each and every activity you will get the display log, whether it is performed correctly or it is showing some errors, you will find it here. So this is not any activity which is going to change some configuration. It is just for the adjustment to check whether everything whatever was required is maintained correctly or not. So if you are doing this exercise manually, the migration of chart of depreciation, in that case you can skip this activity also. Okay, any questions in migration of customizing settings for asset accounting? If no, let's go ahead and do the last step in the migration of customizing, which is for controlling. And this is, as you know, this is only for account-based COPA, because the general controlling configuration was already migrated using this general ledger customizing settings. So for define ledger for CO version, the document types for controlling, mapping variants for controlling, this general setting for controlling is already done. This particular activity node, which it will only include the settings which are required from the account-based point of view. Okay, so before performing all these steps, you have to make sure that if you are using account-based COPA already, you need to execute the delta extraction for account-based COPA so that in your BW or in your COPA reporting, you are getting the updated results, because normally uh, you normally take this extractions on the scheduled basis. So maybe in 15 days, 7 days, whatever schedule you have created. So you need to make sure that at the end of the month, when you are ready for migrating these settings to the new system, you make sure that all the delta extractions has been performed for account-based COPA. So this is the same thing which is explained here. Execute the delta extraction in SAP warehouse for those account-based COPA data sources for which you use the delta procedure. This is necessary because otherwise account-based COPA line items not extracted before the migration may be ignored after the migration when the next data is loaded. Because once the migration is completed, it will only extract the data which is updated after the installation of SAP Simple Finance. So you need to make sure that this particular activity has been completed before starting this migration activity. Delete settings for change of profitability segment characteristics. I think there are two screens. One is KEQ3 and one is KEQ4. Let's go to KEQ3. I think I have not maintained any characteristics. Let's try the standard, something which it is maintained. It is not maintained here. So I think, Raghu, can you tell us what is the significance of this activity, KEQ3 and KEQ4?
Yeah. So basically, these are. Do you know, like, if you post to COPA, there is a profitability segment number which is being generated, which becomes the cost object. Basically, profitability segment number is a unique combination of characteristics.
Yes.
Like,
So, for example, if you want to create a segment which consists of different characteristics, and once you create these segments, it is getting stored here, right?
let me explain. So, if you have, for example, five characteristics. One is sales areas, distribution channel, division, and then some cost center and WBS, for example, right? Or a material. Then each unique combination will have a number. Okay, for example, A distribution channel 1000, division 10. Likewise, and material A will have one profitability segment number, and the same combination with material B will have a second profitability segment number. So whenever I post to material A, the first number is taken, and whenever I post to material B with other combinations, profitability segment B is considered. Now, in my case, I have 50 characteristics. I don't want each unique combination of all the 50 characteristics to be regarded as a profitability segment. Then otherwise, all 50 unique numbers will create too many profitability segments, right? So I can choose here like which characteristics should actually be considered into profitability segment number.
Yes. So you mean to say that if I have, let's say, three characteristics, and let's say, as you told, that one is my sales organization, one is my distribution channel, and let's say one is division. So if I want to create a profitability segments, so for example, the uh, sales organization 1000, distribution channel 10, and division 10. So this is my one profitability segment.
So
Again,
we are not
another
able
I
to.
can have, yes.
Are you writing somewhere?
No, I'm not writing.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just giving you example.
Okay.
So another is sales organization 1000, distribution channel 10, but the division is 20. So this is my second profitability segment. So currently, whatever profitability segments I want to maintain, I have the option of creating them as the profitability segments using these two screens. But going forward, these are not required. Why? Because let me show you this. This is not required because already in AC-Doc A, the summarization is no longer possible. Why? Because we are already talking about these things like we don't need any summarization, we don't need any totals because this can be calculated on the fly. So whenever you will post anything, it will automatically pick up the profitability segment, and you can run the profitability segment reports also without actually storing this data anywhere in the system.
Right.
So
So just to further explain that, so we have talked about only 3 characteristics now, but in COPA you can have up to 50 characteristics. So making a report out of each unique value in earlier COPA was very difficult. So they introduced this concept of profitability segment level characteristics, means which out of these 50 characteristics which form part of summarization. So basically this setting helps in summarizing data, all pre-aggregated data for those characteristics. For example, if I choose 10 characteristics out of 50, then the pre-aggregated data would be stored there, right? And most of the reports like planning and everything will be available only for these selected characteristics, but line item reports I can have everything. So there was a limitation that, hey, I can't do planning if I don't choose a characteristic as a segment level characteristic. Now probably this will be eliminated and I can do planning on all the characteristics, and I don't need to do any pre-aggregated summaries by choosing this.
yes, summarization is not required now.
Yeah.
So whatever settings you have maintained in these two screens, KEQ3 and KEQ4, this particular activity will remove all that settings automatically from the system. So once you run this activity, whatever was maintained in KEQ3 and KEQ4, that will be deleted because they are no more required. So it has removed these 18 entries, but I am not sure where in from which. Let's see if it is showing something. From which chart of depreciation? Oh, sorry, from which uh, operating concern it has deleted. But again, it will show you here. So if there is any error, it will display here that it is not able to delete these settings. Once this is done, you can actually perform the test run. Sorry, you can actually perform the update run. Clear? So you have done two activities. First activity was extraction of account-based COPA. Second activity is deleting all the profitability segment characteristics which are defined as at the summarization level. The third activity is maintain operating concern. This is the same activity that we normally use when we create the operating concern, or when we want to change anything in the operating concern. Why they have added this screen here is, currently if you are not using account-based COPA, and SAP has already discussed that they have said that it is now mandatory to activate the account-based COPA. So even if you are using costing-based COPA, you can use account-based COPA in parallel. You can continue to use costing-based COPA, but account-based COPA has to be activated, because if you don't activate account-based COPA, you will not be able to run the standard profitability reports, because all the values will be now fetched from AC-Doc A. And that is the reason why we need to perform this activity. We need to make sure that for whatever operating concern we are using, we activate the account-based COPA tick here. Or if you are not using the profitability analysis at all, then also it is suggested that you start using this, because you will not need any uh, further configurations, or maybe the complicated configurations which were required till now for profitability analysis. So it is always suggested to activate the account-based COPA for your operating concern. And rest of the settings are same, like you can add the
Gaurav,
character. Yes.
Gaurav, do you think this profitability segment level characteristics deletion is it required if I am using cost-based COPA?
Segment characteristics.
The earlier step, for
I think it
example,
is
if I am
only for
using both
account-based
cost-based,
COPA.
Uh, there's no mention there, right? It should not be done if it is cost-based COPA.
So you mean to say you want to keep the settings for costing-based COPA?
No, I'm just thinking, is it only for account-based COPA, or if I'm start?
No. This particular activity, this deletion of profitability segment is for all. KE, whatever is maintained in KE Q3 and KE Q4, it will delete all. But
So
do you think
even
that
so,
if you are
even
using costing,
cost-based COPA will no need this summarize.
yes, not needed because it will pick directly from AC doc now.
Okay. No, but AC.K is for account-based COPA.
No, that is the reason why I'm
If we
telling
have,
now activation of, if you are using costing based COPA currently by maintaining these fields, you are able to run the reports. Okay. But
right.
what if you delete this? Once you delete this, that is the reason why I'm telling you account based COPA is mandatory now.
Yeah, that's fine. I can use account-based COPA, but if I am still wanted to use cost-based COPA, what would be the effect of for deleting this? So when I'm not doing summarization for cost-based COPA, will still the reports run? Or
Yes, because it will take the values from account based COPA now. Even costing based COPA will take the actual values from account based COPA.
really? Because they are
Yes.
still stored in the old tables, right?
That is okay,
Cost-based.
but yes, that is okay. That is the reason, Raghu. Even if otherwise, SAP should have told that no need of it is not mandatory to use account-based COPA. Why they are saying it is mandatory? Because even if you are using costing-based COPA, and you will not be able to run the profitability reports because these values are not flowing to account-based COPA.
Okay, even yesterday when billing is done, even separate document was generated for COPA, right? For costing based COPA. It is not
Mhm.
from SA.A. It was a separate document was generated.
For
To
billing.
me, a cost-based COPA cannot refer back to account-based COPA because there we use value fields, here we use accounts. So they should be the same table, same old tables which are storing the cost-based COPA.
Yes.
The only difference should be like there is no more profitability segment level characteristics. So everything will become forming part of profitability segment number.
But tell me one thing, if okay, you are saying that profitability segments will be removed. That will not affect to your costing based COPA in that case?
No, earlier there is a limitation that I can do planning only, for example, planning on only those characteristics which are defined as segment level. But now it
Okay.
might be possible that all the 50 or whatever characteristics you
Okay.
have.
Can you just tell me the T code that you use for planning?
Um,
Or maybe we can go through SAP menu.
Menu, yeah. Yes.
This one?
Yeah, KEPM. Even report painter reports for COPA you cannot do. I guess there is prerequisite setup needed here. Um,
Okay. Here everything is blank, I think.
yeah, there is a setup needed for this. But even
Yes.
actual data reports for from report painter will work only with those summarized characteristics.
Yes. Okay, let me check this. I checked yesterday this COSS and COSP. These are actually the totals tables in controlling. They are used in as a totals tables in controlling, and that is the reason why they have been removed as the tables, and they have been created as the views.
Uh, for operating concern, that would be different tables which start with CE1 followed by your
No,
operating.
I'm just talking about your yesterday's question. You were telling that what will be happening to my COSS and COSP. So I told you that I'll check whether they will be deleted as the tables and they'll be created as the views. And I've checked actually they are the totals tables for controlling. And they have been removed as the tables and they will be created as the views. But I need to check, like when you ask me about the planning data, where my planning data will be stored. So I'll check which are that tables actually. Because when you as you said, when you retrieve the table, retrieve the planning data, normally it comes from COSS and COSP. So it will continue to come in COSS and COSP, but the base table from which it is taking the data, I'll update you on that, which is that base table.
Okay.
This
Okay,
also
in
I'll
case
check,
of
like,
okay, since COSS as well as COSP, it has been created as a view, then the source of data will be AC.A.
no, but what
Is it?
about planning? I cannot do planning in AC.A. Yesterday,
Okay, since
Raghu
it
was,
has created as a view from where it is stored.
see, views are normally the uh, tables or maybe the temporary tables which takes the data from the actual tables, original tables. So I need to check. See, I understand that the actual values will flow from AC.K, but what about the planning values? Or COSS is only used for the actual values, you mean to say? Because I am referring to yesterday's question of Raghu when he was saying that my planning values flow from COSS and COSP, right, Raghu? Hello?
Sorry, I was not following. What was the question?
Raghu, yesterday you were asking me question that if my COSS and COSP tables will be removed, where will be my planning data stored, right?
Yeah, because we were seeing that ledger
Yes,
assignment
the ledger version.
versions.
CO, yes, ledger will update which CO version. At that time, you asked me what will be the impact on my planning. Like currently, I'm getting the data, I'm saving the data in COSS and COSP. So, do you mean
Those are
that
stored in
COSS?
table, but planning table might be something different.
Yes, planning
Not
table
like
is something different, and that is the reason why this COSS and COSP have been deleted as the tables and they have been created as the views. But we need to check which is the planning table, but that is not impacted because from the first session itself, what I'm telling you is the normal tables which are storing the data on the line item basis, they will not be removed. Only the tables which will be removed are of two types. One is index tables and totals tables. So COSS and COSP I checked. These are actually the total tables for controlling, similar to what we have FHGL FlexT for general ledger accounting. Similarly, COSS and COSP is for controlling, and that is the reason why they have been removed. But the planning tables, I'm sure they are not removed; they are as it is. So whatever planning you are doing currently, it will be same.
yeah, my understanding was since these are integrated, even plan versions were can be part of a particular ledger. But since we were able to assign only one ledger, leading ledger to one CO version, so I was a little surprised, like where would be the other plan value, other version values would be stored.
But tell me one thing, Raghu. Even in my ECC, uh, the flow of actual values from my general ledger accounting, it goes only to CO version 0, right?
Yes, only
So
to
the
CO
same
version 0,
settings,
but I can do other data in other versions, like for example, if I have uh, group valuation or profit center valuation, I can have multiple versions,
no, but
and
that is planning, right?
not even planning, even actual values, I can have multiple versions like 0 PC and 0 GR, which are for parallel valuation.
Okay, you mean to say
Maybe
in controlling also you can have different versions in which you flow the actual value.
right, right. If I use transfer pricing and the parallel valuation concept from material
Okay.
ledger.
Yes, I think see that is not going to be changed. Yesterday, the activity which we were discussing, it was related to the flow of actual values from financial accounting. So
Right.
currently in the standard system, when I don't specify any ledger, it means that whatever value will flow, they will flow from my leading ledger 0L and they will be only flown to my uh, CO version 0, right? That is the standard setting. But now
Right.
SAP has provided the extension to it that you can decide in what you are going to, for example, if you want to post the ledger value, sorry, ledger actual values from 0L, to some other CO version, that option is also available now. You got the point? So that particular screen is
Can
for
you
that
repeat
only.
your last sentence?
See, normally today I don't have any screen where I can say, okay, 0L will update my CO version 0, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Now in Simple Finance, SAP has provided a screen where you can actually specify whether if you have the requirement of updating the values from 0L to some other CO version, that is also possible.
Okay.
And that is
Yeah, but
the, yes.
yeah, I understand. It can be only one main CO version which has to be. Earlier
Right.
it is only 0, but I can now I have an option to change it.
Yes, and that the
But I'm
significance of that
thinking like
screen is that much only.
right. So, but I'm thinking like what happens for all the planning and other actual transactions of
I don't think that is going to change. Can you tell me what is the T code you use for all this different actual flow of values to different versions?
uh, that we cannot see it here because that needs a lot of customizing from material, right?
Yes, exactly. But again, I am 100% sure that they are not affected. Only thing here is the significance of the activity that we were seeing is only to make sure that which particular CO version will be updated when you post any document in 0L. Okay, and
Yeah.
that also we discussed. Currently, it was only possible to update 0 version in CO. But now if you don't maintain anything there, it will update all your versions in CO.
Okay, because I was told like earlier we do activity prices. Probably if someone knows a little bit of product costing, we make rates for activity prices. Like, hey, if a painter in a painting cost center performs 1 hour of job on a particular WBS, what is the rate which I have to charge to the WBS, giving
Yes, I
credit?
think this same setting we maintained when we were doing the configuration for COPA. So the
Yeah,
product
similar
cost
kind of
estimate.
stuff.
Yes, KP26, right?
Yeah, KP26. And it was
Yes.
said like, hey, I can maintain only one rate for leading version, which is 0 version. But now with Simple Finance, I can maintain multiple rates for uh, parallel versions. Like if it is version 5, I can put in a different rate and use that for posting. So I'm a little confused over there. Maybe I have to do a little bit of research there. I'll come back.
Okay. Yes, yes. Agraku, I think this was also possible earlier also because when you run KP26, it always asks you which version you want to update.
Yeah, but I cannot use it for any postings earlier.
Okay.
For like parallel valuation, I cannot use it.
Okay.
For
Okay.
example, in legal valuation version 0 rate, I can use it, and I want to use a different rate for profit center valuation. That was not possible earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you actually, if you have time, you just check it and maybe we can discuss this once you are done with this configuration.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. With
Okay.
respect to CO version itself, yesterday we were discussing on different ledgers, leading and non-leading ledger. We can assign the different CO version. Okay, I tried to assign a different CO versions, but the system didn't allow.
So for 0L, you are trying to change something?
Yeah, 0L, I keep it as 0. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
whereas non-leading ledger, I put it as Z1. Okay, but
So
system
what
didn't
error you are
allow.
getting?
It was asking that both it has to be 00, something like that. And when I
Okay.
put Z1 for both, it didn't allow.
Just a minute. Let's check this. So for example, let's copy. Or do you have some company which you are
Yeah, it
trying?
is already there. If you look at 7110, for leading ledger, it is already 0 is there. For,
Okay, this one.
yeah,
And you want to assign Z1 to?
yeah.
It is only showing 0.
Actually, I had created earlier. Just can you click on reverse triangle?
No, which triangle you're saying?
Or else directly type it Z1. I think it is not completely dropped down.
Set one does not exist in controlling area.
Okay. Okay then. Actually, I had created this. Okay. Time making, we can park this question. Next
Okay.
week I can.
Sure. Just try this. If you find any issue, definitely we'll check.
Okay, sure.
Yes. Or you can send me the screenshot also. I'll also check offline and then we'll just work upon the solution.
Okay, sure. Will do.
Yes. Okay. Then we were here. The define operating concern. This is for the particular add-on. If you are using the banking add-on, I'm also not sure where this is used. This is something which is industry specific, I think. Only relevant for banking add-ons. If anybody knows about this, he can just tell us what exactly this is used for. Has anybody worked on banking add-on, or anybody knows what is banking add-on at least? If no, this activity is not mandatory. This is optional. This is only applicable if you are using the banking add-on. Okay. Activate account-based COPA. Now, this means that for your particular operating concern, what is allowed, like costing-based COPA is allowed or account-based COPA is allowed, you can maintain it here. So, if you are using both, it should be component active for both type of profitability analysis. If you are only using account-based COPA, this should be ticked, and if you are not using COPA at all, you should tick on this component not active.
Actually, when we define the operating concern itself, there is a tick, right? Costing based COPA and as well as account
Yes,
based
so
COPA.
you can yes, you can create this. This means the profitability analysis, this type of profitability analysis can be done for this operating concern, but it is not mandatory that, for example, if I activate both from here, costing based and account based, and still if I'm not doing this exercise, activation, it will not work, because this is activation which will make sure that all the required tables and all are created. You see, when you activate this, there are a lot of things which happens in the background. But
I guess Gaurav, it is like the first time you are creating, you can put these sticks here, but
mhm,
whenever we need some change, you cannot do any change from here. You have to do it from
yes,
the frame.
no, but changes also you
That
can
is,
do. For example, if you don't want to use costing based COPA and further, you can come here and you can make these changes. But again, it will delete whether it is allowed to delete the tables which are created for costing based COPA, for example,
yeah, we can deactivate it. You cannot
from here
delete
itself.
it. You can
Yes, so
deactivate it.
tables will not be removed, only it will be deactivated. But I think the
Tables and
better
data
option
will be
is, yes, so better option is don't touch anything here. You just go here and say, okay, this is activated and this is not activated.
the only difference is here this is year specific. Okay. From a specific year I can change those settings.
Yes,
The earlier one is like a global setting which can be changed for year.
yes. So for example, when you, for example, like you are already working with some company which is a new greenfield implementation and they are still not using any, let's say, costing based COPA, and they are not using account based COPA also. So what you can suggest them is at least you activate this account based COPA and costing based COPA both from the this angle. Maybe if you don't want to use costing based COPA, you can just come here and you can deactivate this, because it will be simpler for them to move to costing based COPA in the future. So they'll just say, okay, from this particular point, now I want to activate both.
Yeah, it's also a case for from my client. We activated both in the initial stage, like when we implemented it for, as a greenfield, and then they said like, hey, we don't want account-based COPA. Then from a specific year, we deactivated it, the account-based COPA with this
Right.
setting.
Yes. So rather than touching this main configuration, you can just make it activate or deactivate from here. And then
Okay.
transport operating
Just a
concern.
moment. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, with previous setup itself, can you go to the operating concern we have created in this client COPA? Not here.
Here.
Below that, activate. Yes. The
Yes.
operating concern, it was created see COPA, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It was there earlier also for.
No, no, no. This is changed now itself.
Okay.
Like before,
That
I
means
was
without
when I was
mentioning
doing
it,
this.
still yesterday we could able to post.
No, 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 no.
Those.
Yesterday, not yesterday. This I have done maybe 2 or 3 days back when I was working on this scenario, which I have shown you yesterday, the Word document in which the values are flowing. Earlier they were not flowing. They were giving me error that this is not activated from here, even though it was activated from my this uh, from here. Both were activated, costing based COPA and account based COPA, but still the values are not flowing and it was throwing error that this is not activated. So I came here and I activated this.
Okay.
Yes. So if you don't activate here, even though it is activated from there, you cannot uh, use any type of COPA.
Okay.
Okay. So whatever changes you will do it here, it will not create any TR. So whatever changes you have done, you can just come to here and you can execute this for a particular operating concern, and it will create a TR which will be applicable for all the activities, all the changes that you have done for account-based COPA or the operating concern at the total level. So even though if you made some changes at the costing-based COPA also, because you are allowed to do any changes even though it is related to account-based COPA, but when you open the screen, you can make any changes to costing-based COPA also. So whatever changes you will do in this, you can create a TR using this activity. And then this TR.
Yeah, Gaurav, one more addition to my previous point. So the first KEA0 is at operating concern level. Like what kind of COPA I should use can be used for this operating concern. And the second setting is at controlling area. So ideally I can assign more than one controlling area to the same operating concern. So if one of my controlling area wants to use both and another one does not want to use cost-based COPA, you can change the settings.
Yes. So for example, if I have 4 different controlling areas which are assigned to my operating concern, out of that, 2 want to use this functionality and 2 don't want to use. So you can control it from here.
Right.
Yes, yes, exactly. Okay, then finally the transport, which will create a TR which you can use to export it to the test system and the productive system. And this completes the migration of customizing settings for controlling also. Controlling means only account-based COPA. There is no migration of any customizing for other modules, other sub-modules within controlling. Nothing is required, no changes are required in terms of any configuration in cost center, profit center, product costing. There are no changes required at all, even for cost-based COPA. So this activity will close. Once this activity is done, this means all the migration of the customizing settings are completed from general ledger perspective, asset accounting perspective, and also from the controlling perspective. Once this is done, now you are ready for moving on to the migration, which is actually the data migration of your master and transaction data.
Okay.
Okay.
Initially, there was a presentation on cash management also. Do we
Mm-hmm.
need to do anything customization changes for cash management also?
Cash management, see, as I think this also we discussed, I think in the demo session, that this is also something new which is coming in Simple Finance. But this cash management is not the module which is part of, let's say, finance. It is the part of FSCM, right? And there are definitely some changes in terms of configuration and in terms of the transactions and the reportings also. So that I think will be covered. I'll try to cover in the next week, in which I'll show you what are the new activities under configuration, the delta configuration, and then we can see all these apps. For example, whatever apps are provided as a role to the cache manager, what he can do under this new cache management. But that will be covered into the SAP Fiori apps itself, because from this ECC point of view, there are no activities which are added for the cache management. Okay.
Yeah, I think we should maybe the next step we can do later. I mean next weekend, because
Yes,
I think
because you want to see
yeah.
the match.
No, it's not a match. Actually, it will be hard to digest now, because already
Okay,
we are
okay.
so controlling and asset accounting. Yeah, so many things here.
Yes, yes, yes. Not a
Mhm.
problem. We can do it in the next week also. That is not an issue. Okay, next week I'll try to complete this
Today, Neeraj is,
migration.
Neeraj is absent today
Yes, I think Neeraj is not
I
available
think
today.
so.
because he didn't create a group we were discussing yesterday. So that's why I'm
It is
asking.
still not created.
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that you want to know, or we can close and we can meet next week?
Yeah, we will.
I think this migration is very simple. Like you don't have to do anything manually. It is like you just need to perform the activity and then you just need to check the log. So in each and every activity, you'll just see uh, migrate this and see the log. Migrate this and see the log. So each and every activity, for example, the master data of the cost element, then the master data of GL balances, sorry, GL and cost element has to be merged. Then transaction data, for example, if I want to uh, migrate the transactional data from GL, from asset accounting, everything will be completed, I think, very faster, because we don't have to do anything manually. We just need to perform the activity and then we just need to check the log.
What's the
Okay.
topic for next week?
Next week, first of all, we are going to cover this migration. Maybe Saturday we'll need only for this migration activity, in which we are going to talk about migration of master data and the transaction data. And then we will be left up with the topics like new cache management, something about SAP Fiori and integrated business planning, how these functions will be done using SAP Fiori app. And obviously we are still left with the asset accounting. Uh, if that server is like, if these settings are available, we will do that also. So I think these are the only topics which are remaining. So
So how many sessions do you think more?
actually, I was expecting to complete this migration today, and I was expecting that these two topics, the remaining topics, because this is just the overview of cache management and IBP, and we'll just see in the SAP Fiori. So we need only one session for all these three overview sessions. For example, SAP Fiori, how it will look like, how we are going to do the planning, and how we are going to do the cache management functions, new cache management function. This will take us let's say one session, and one session for the remaining topics. For example, we have not completed the asset accounting. We need to do some transactions in asset accounting and the reporting. So this was my idea. So I was expecting that we'll be able to complete everything by next weekend. But because this migration is still pending and we are not aware of whether all these settings for asset accounting will be available in the next week. So max to max, I think we'll need two sessions on next weekend and two sessions max to max on the subsequent weekend. If not, uh, we can complete one, like three sessions from now.
Okay, you are going to show the bank account management, right? House banks
Yes,
and
yes,
all.
I'm going to show you the overview, because actually this cache management is a totally separate module. But as we discussed in the demo session also, that we are going to see the overview of cache management and the overview of this IBP also, like how the planning functions will be carried out in the new system. So these two overview sessions, and this obviously we are going to see this in the Fiori. So you will get the hands-on on the Fiori also, how Fiori will work. So this will complete 3 topics, and apart from that, as I told you, asset accounting is the only topic which is remaining under this ECC umbrella. So these 4 topics are
But
remaining.
cash management, I understand. I don't want to see all the functionalities, but light bank account management, the new fields which came in, and um, there is basically light BAM and full version of BAM, right? So light BAM is used for
Yes, yes.
house
So
bank.
I'll tell you what exactly this is. I'll tell you what are the new functionalities within bank account management. Till today, I don't have any control on bank management. Anybody can create a bank, anybody can do the transaction. But now, even when you create a bank, you need the approval, whether this has been created correctly or it is required or not. Once that is done, when you make any payment to the vendor, you can have the signatory control also from the system. You can say, okay, he is the person who is allowed to approve this payment, or you can approve the payment from the system now. Before going to the bank, it has to be approved. Not only that, you can create a bank hierarchy also. So for example, let's say ICICI Bank, within ICICI Bank 4 branches, within all these 4 branches, in one branch I have 3 accounts. So this hierarchical view was not available as of now, but you can see this now. Not only this, the reports are also like very user friendly, which will show you the balances according to any dimension. For example, I want to see how much balance is available in country wise, like in India, how much is the balance, how much is the balance in US. Similarly, the balance is company code wise. And obviously, when I'm using cash management in parallel, I can also do the forecasting, like what will be the end balance, the uh, day closure balance on each of the day for, let's say, next week. And maybe in the liquidity planning, I can see these balances for some, I think, 24 weeks. So these are the things which are new, which we can directly see in the using the SAP Fiori app. Obviously, there are some configurations required, like we need to define the workflow, who will be the approver for the bank payments, who will be approver for approving the creation of new bank. So these are some of the things that we need to see in SAP Fiori, or we can directly use native or business client also to do this. Let's see if the Fiori apps are working correctly. I'll show you in the SAP Fiori app itself, the new cache management. Otherwise, we can use NetViewer also, because screens are going to be same. Only thing is from where you are connecting to that particular screen, that is different. Okay. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, we'll close today and we'll meet same time in the next week with this topic migration and then the remaining of topics.
Okay,
Okay.
Gaurav. Thank you. Bye.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank
guys,
you.
bye. Okay, other thing, if any of you thinks that there is some topic which should be covered which is still not covered in this course, please make sure that you create a list if you think so before the end of next week, so that we'll get at least one day to think about it, and we try to cover that topic also.
Okay. Yeah, that is a good idea.
Yes, otherwise when we'll meet in the on the last day, it should not happen. Oh, this topic is not covered. So at least we should plan in advance. If anything is missing, please.
From my side, just now I told, na, in the some time back that those are set rejections. So maybe you told
Yes,
you
yes.
will
That,
capture
see,
screenshots.
whatever I told, like asset accounting, the overview of IBP, overview of Fiori, overview of this cash management. 3 plus 1, 4 asset accounting, and fifth is this migration. I think these 5 topics are remaining, and if only these 5 topics are remaining, I am sure that this will be done. This will be completed by end of next to next week. But if you
Yeah,
think there
and
is some
also
other topic also apart from this 5, let me know. I'll definitely try to cover that.
yeah, and also reporting piece basically
Yes,
in terms
reporting.
of
Yes, 6.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
reporting. Yes.
Yes. So 6.
Okay. Thank you, Gaurav.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.